Brought to you by Fowl Factory. Well, today we're out here on one of our properties where we got about 13 wood duck houses. This time of year, it's about early January here, we like to just take a little walk and check out all of our houses, make sure they're still up, standing out of the water, make sure they don't need any wood or anything for this upcoming season. Then we usually come in around March time when we still have some ice and walk on the ice and get them all ready for spring as these birds start moving back in the area. But today we have a hunt to bring for you. It's a mid-October honker hunt. In this hunt, we started to see a consistent amount of birds moving through the area. September was slow. It took a little bit for these birds to start moving in, but once early mid-October started coming, we started seeing more and more birds moving into the area and actually staying in the area. We were hunting a field about a half mile off Beaver Dam Lake. We were about 10 miles from Horicon Marsh. Beaver Dam Lake and Horicon Marsh, they actually served as a roosting spot for a lot of these birds. We were actually hunting two different groups of birds. There was one smaller group of birds that was coming off Beaver Dam Lake, hitting this field, and there was another a couple hundred geese that were coming off Horicon Marsh hitting the same field. So we knew we had to be set up early for these birds, as we were going to catch the first group coming off Beaver Dam Lake and then the other group coming off Horicon Marsh. And these birds had kind of bounced back and forth between Beaver Dam Lake as a loaf spot throughout the day. So let's turn it over to Ryan as he starts talking about our scouting strategy for this hunt.
We got permission for both fields, the one right behind me and then another one right across the road. Really good cover. They were just cut cornfields earlier this week, so the birds have been in there for a couple days. Haven't picked it over very much, so they should still be in here tomorrow morning. But there's a lot more birds going onto the field just to the west here, and the cover is just a little bit thicker, and there's a little bit bigger area for us to set up. We're planning on getting 6 or 7 guys out here so we can get a good hunt tomorrow. Also, when we were out here last night, there was at least a couple of good-sized flocks of mallards working these fields too. So hopefully, besides getting a lot of geese in these fields, we can get some ducks to work in as well. We're going to scout for an hour or two here or more, and this morning and then tonight going to come back out here just so we make sure we have that X located exactly where these birds are landing, and we can set up for tomorrow morning. No, that's
Well, it's October 11th here in south central Wisconsin. Got ourselves a big cornfield here this morning. We scouted this field. We actually found a good amount of birds working this field. We're only about a half mile off the Beaver Dam Lake and about a mile and a half from Fox Lake, and these birds are kind of traveling here in the morning and at night to feed. We got ourselves about 75 goose decoys out along with some mallards, and we actually got a little bit different setup this morning. We're sitting in front of the decoys, kind of tucked up back against the line fence. This is where these birds have been sitting the past 2 days. But yeah, we're out in front of the decoys. Hopefully those birds will land right on top of us. We got a southwest wind about 10 to 15 miles per hour this morning. Got good movement in the spread, which makes it nice for shooting some of these honkers. But yeah, we're excited about this morning. The birds are all real spread out, so we should have some luck, and hopefully the birds cooperate the way we want them to. Well, we just walked up to our first wood duck house here, and you can see we're going to have to put a screw in this one to make it operable for spring. But as you can see here on the episode, right away the birds showed up. Within the first couple minutes of shooting hours, we were able to get a couple ducks on the ground. We actually saw a lot of woodies swinging around the area that morning. Not a lot of them wanted to work right into the decoys. They were bigger flocks, but that's just the way it goes sometimes when you're trying to hunt those early season ducks. As we expected, those geese came off Beaver Dam Lake right away in the morning. For some reason, those birds didn't quite want to decoy. They'd swing around us, but they'd never come into shooting range. And actually, we had a couple flocks of these birds land down in the soybean field below us, which is something we were a little bit worried about, because when we were scouting, we had seen these birds. Some of them are landing on top of this hill, which was the corn, and some of them were landing down in the soybeans, and they were actually walking up into this corn. But the way we had to set up, we had to have some sort of concealment for our layout blinds, so we had no choice but to hide in this corn. So what we decided to do after watching these birds work a little bit was we tried to make our hole a little bit bigger. We were actually sitting in front of the decoys for this hunt, and we decided to open the hole a little bit behind us, and as you'll be able to see right here, it paid off for us.
So we've shot 12 geese so far this morning. The birds are coming into this field just like we thought they would, but they're not decoying in like we were hoping they were going to. Our blinds are a little bit too high up on the hill. They're landing just down below us, so we're having to have a lot of crossing shots and shooting a little bit farther than we wanted to. So we're moving our blinds right now. We're putting them down about 20-30 yards just down to our right to get a little bit closer to that X where the birds are working this morning.
Well, we're just coming up to one of our last wood duck houses here. This is one of our better wood duck houses, actually. We're just off a little ditch here, kind of tucked up in some trees, but those hen woodies seem to love it every year. So we're just going to spin it around, face it towards the ditch, and keep moving here. But as you can see from the hunt, we had a great hunt. We had a 7-man limit of geese, which is perfect for us. We were able to limit out. We did have a couple struggles with this hunt, even though we were able to get a limit. We knew right off the bat that we were going to have wind that morning. We were hoping it would be someplace from either the north or the south, but it actually came out of the west. The problem with this is we have, as you know, when you're hunting waterfowl, you like to have the wind to your back so these birds can finish in front of you. Well, we weren't able to have that this hunt. When we had the wind to our back, we were facing east and the sun came up in the east. So the first half hour it wasn't an issue, but once that sun came up, we were looking right in the sun right off the bat. It makes it tough for shooting, when you're looking right down your barrel looking in the sun. But something that's even more important than that makes it difficult is these birds can really see you. When they have the sun to their back, everything in your spread is glowing. It's that much brighter, that much easier for them to see. So if your face isn't concealed, tucked in the layout blind, if your dog is maybe out of the layout or out of their dog hut, these birds are going to see that right away. And we had that struggle. We could see a couple different flocks they would work in, and they were able to pick us out, and they were flaring a little bit. But that's just one of the struggles of hunting. You have to constantly be adapting to try to make it work. But overall, we were able to have a great hunt. Like I said, 7-man limit of geese. We had a great time. We were able to find the birds, and it actually worked out just the way we wanted to as far as scouting and the way the hunt went. But Andrew and I have a couple more wood duck houses here to check, so we're going to keep going. And I want to thank you guys for joining us on this week's episode of Hardline Outdoors. Stay tuned right here at Hardline Outdoors for more episodes here in the future.